Yeah, a lot of people never go at me because either go at people of their age and this, that, and the other, will talk about the people dead. Well, I can't help it. I'm 75 years of age, and a lot of them people are dead. You know what I mean? Because, like, you know, they've got to remember they're maybe 10, 20 years older than me, you know, when I first met them. Anyway, let's not go there anyway. So, but I remember the fight I had under the car park, yeah, for Joe Pyle, and I got bashed up by this black guy. He smashed all my face, bashed me right up, yeah. Done my nose, all my teeth, my gums. It was in a bad way. And we found out he had lead, like thin lead strips in his gloves, yeah, but in his bandages, between the bandage and strip, you know. And that's the damage he'd done to me. Jimmy Tibbet found out. So the next fight, I done the exact same thing, and I bashed him up, yeah. But I still got really, really hurt down my ribs and all this, that, and the other. So because it was under the car park, there was no dressing rooms as such, but there was porta cabins. So I walked in the porta cabins, and there's Joe Pyle and all that in there, yeah. And Bindon's in there, and I was in a bad way, you know. And Bindon's digging me out, really digging me out. But he was with my father-in-law, but at that time, he wasn't my father-in-law. Well, he wasn't my father anyway, but you know, anyway, he was my girlfriend's dad. So me and him, Bindon, we don't get on. Right? He shouted his mouth at me. He'd done the right mess and made himself a mug and this, that, and the other. But it was a good fight, yeah. So I want to dig Bindon out. I want to pop him off really, but I'm smashed to pieces. And me and him had a fight. You know, he could have killed me because I was in a bad way. You know, he could have just, you know, you don't know, you know. So I let it fly. So later on, it came about, Jimmy Tibbet was telling me that Bindon was going to fight Lenny McLean. And I went, really? He went, yeah. I went, fucking hell. So, but what it was, I don't know if it was after the first, it wouldn't have been the first one, after the second one or the third one, when Lenny beat Roy, bashed him up. But the first fight that Roy Shaw had with Lenny McLean got bashed up by Roy Shaw, but no one's ever seen that fight. We can't get hold of it. I don't know if anybody out there has got it or anybody out there has seen it, yeah? But I'd love to see it. So later on, Roy Shaw got bashed up by Lenny Bags twice, didn't he? Right? And then Bindon was going to fight Lenny McLean. I don't know if it was before. Anyway, so Lenny McLean and and Bindon was on. Bindon started training with Joe Pyle down Joe Pyle's pub, and he was to spar with Roy Shaw. And Alex Steen was there, Joe Pyle was there. They was all there, mate. Yeah. And John Bindon held his own with Roy. You know what I mean? First of all, I think Roy used to batter him a little bit, but Johnny Bindon got it together, yeah. And then he come down, Nosher Powell come down and got in the ring with Johnny Bindon and was teaching him things, yeah. And that went on for quite a bit of time. Bindon was getting really, really fit, and the fight was on. As I say, I don't know if it was before when he fought Roy Shaw the second or third time, but it was going to fight Lenny McLean. And the reason I think that he never was, because he was in the ring with Nosher Powell. You got to remember, Nosher Powell was a good pro. Not only was Nosher Powell a good pro, but he was a bodyguard as well. And he'd done lots of stunt work for all the film studios, you know, and acting. And he was a proper guy, this Nosher Powell, and could really have it, you know. He got utmost respect from everybody, you know. Referees, he's done such a lot, you know. I think he was a referee for a Lenny McLean fight and Roy Shaw fight, you know. But he was a gentleman. He was a proper gentleman that could really have it, glasses, but could really fight. And he was Jimmy Tibbet's pal as well. But anyway, I went down there with Jimmy Tibbet and see Johnny Bindon sparring. And then Nosher Powell. But the reason I feel that Johnny Bindon didn't actually get to fight Lenny McLean was, because Nosher Powell, he's a good pro, mate, and he's a good banger. Got in the ring with Bindon and hurt Bindon a few times, and said to Bindon, this is what I was told by Jimmy Tibbet, he said to Bindon, listen, if you're complaining about me hitting you with 16-ounce gloves, what are you going to be like with Lenny McLean? Because Lenny McLean will smash you to pieces if you start complaining about me doing it. Lenny's a lot bigger, a lot harder, and he will smash you to pieces. So I think that's why Johnny Bindon didn't get to fight Lenny McLean. But he used to train quite a lot, Bindon, and he became a pain in the butt with me as well. You know, I mean, me and Bindon never, ever got on. You know, just too flash, mate. But before I met Roy Shaw, Alex Steen, and them sort of people, I met Joe Pyle a long time ago, right? Believe it or not, right? I used to be friends with a guy called Mickey Lawrence. No, Mickey Francis, that's it, Mickey Francis, from Albany. When I was at Albany, 74, 75, something like that, yeah, I met a guy called Mickey Francis. Mickey Francis was short, stocky guy, big, massive arms, and short levers, very short levers, but very strong because of the short levers, yeah. And I met him in Albany. So when I finished my bird, right, he gave me his phone number, where he lived, and he lived round by Charing Cross Hospital in Fulham. The next turning past Charing Cross. And he was a nice guy, but I didn't realise what a pain in the butt he is, yeah? So I was at Crispin's, and he used to go to Crispin's, come with me, and give me a hand on the door. And Ken Edwards wanted to get rid of all these yuppies and bits and pieces, and Mickey Francis started causing problems and bashing up yuppies and all that. So in the end, my man, Ken Edwards, who owned Crispin's, loved Mickey Francis because of the way he done it. But he's a pain in the arse for me, because I knew he was going to go and leave me all the aggro. But anyway, so when I went to Fulham and all that with Mick, we eventually goes to see Joe Pyle. And Mickey Francis was always talking about Joe Pyle, that he worked with Joe, this, that and the other, yeah. I think Mickey Francis was doing, I don't know, big sentence, 10 years, something like that. And I don't know what it was for. But when I went to see Joe Pyle, Alex Steen was there. I don't think his young boy was there then. A young Joe, I think Joe, I don't know how old he was then, I ain't got a clue, but this is a long time ago. And Joe Pyle, Mickey Francis was to row a little bit, yeah. But anyway, I wound up going away from it all, and I was going around Mickey Francis' house, and he wasn't even there. He'd gone, he's moved, wife was, everything had gone. And I often wonder where he is, do you know what I mean? If he ever's on my YouTube, get in touch with him, mate, you know what I mean? But he just disappeared. After seeing Joe Pyle and them two, he disappeared. Don't know what happened, do you know what I mean? Anyway, so when I was in Chelmsford Prison, and it burnt down, but before all that, I was introduced to Alex Steen and Ray Bender by Ronnie Bender. I was on a visit with my mum, right, and I was a big man, mate, and very, very powerful, and I was just smashed. Anyway, so Ronnie Bender came over to me, sat on my table, said, "Excuse me, can I just for 2 seconds, can Ray come over to my table to meet?" Well, I met Alex Steen and I met Ray Bender. They wanted me to fight, this, that and that. But I explained to them that I couldn't, because I've been nicked for too many GBH charges and ABH charges and armed robberies and violence, and the old bill did my licence. It took my licence away when I was with Georgie Francis and Mickey Duff when at the Wellington Highgate. Yeah, that went right. So When I didn't actually turn pro, but I was going to turn pro, but that went. You know, I had no chance of getting it because of what happened to me. Yeah. So when I met Alec and all that, and then you know, and then later on, I'd already really seen Alec with Mickey Francis when we went up to the pub, but not really took much notice of him. Yeah. And I loved them people, yeah. I loved what I'd done, yeah. The fighting game, yeah. I loved the fighting game. I really, really liked it, yeah. But as I said, all the people that I talk about are dead. And there's not a lot I can do about it, you know what I mean? Anyway, look, let me do another part of this, bigger part. Bang, bang, well, nice one.